And welcome back to the First and Goal podcast. My name is Lewis. Next to me, as always, is my beautiful co-host Laraib. As we're here to break down the NFL divisional round, make our official picks and predictions for the full divisional round slate. Um, I mean, been super excited looking at these matchups. I mean, all the first wild card round was incredible, banger after banger after banger, and then the then the Steelers and the Texans played, and yikes. But with all this crazy NFL news going on, we are solely going to focus on these four matchups. And if any of y'all care about our picks out there, which none of y'all do, it's so stupid and trivial at this point. I am down two in the playoffs. And as we know, the as we go further in the rounds, they count more and more, right? So this week's worth two, next week's worth. Dude,
Mm.
I thought I got them there. Um, no, they're all worth one, so I'm down two. So I got to make some bold plays here. But I already have my picks written down. You already have your picks written down. I am not wavering from my. I felt to my bones confident about this since I saw the matchups develop, and I'm excited now to start breaking them down. Rob, anything else you want to say before we get started with these games?
No, let's just hop right in. A amazing slate for the divisional round, kicking it off with the Bills going to the Broncos. The Broncos here by
Mm.
1.5 points in Denver, Lewis. And the Bills, Broncos, we saw this matchup last year in the wild card. And the Bills did belt to ass against a young Bo Nix team that had to travel to Buffalo. But this time it's the other way around. The Broncos are the top dogs in this one. And this Bills team, Lewis, really, really injured. They have four wide receivers on IR, and their three wideouts remaining are Brandon Cooks, Khalil Shakir, and your guy, Keon Coleman, and then a bunch of tight ends. And so it is going to be another Superman effort from Josh Allen if they want to win this game against Sean Payton, who is 4-0 in his career coming off a bye.
Yeah, I mean, this is a spot where it's easy to look at the two teams this season and say, oh, Denver's at home. They're the number one seed coming off the extra rest. They're the healthier team. Why did this line open as Buffalo as a favorite and then since moved to Denver as just a slight favorite here at home? And I think it's purely based off the experience, right? The experience of Bo Nix in these playoffs, how they've fared against playoff level quarterbacks and teams this year. I mean, their defense certainly has stood up to the billing, but their offense has left a lot to be desired in some of these bigger matchups this season. They find ways to win, which you give them that, but you know, whenever it's hard picking this game because you look at a guy like Josh Allen and it's like last week when I picked against him, it was like, oh, really? I just picked against Josh Allen in the playoffs. Like, what am I doing? It just he is going to make the plays late whenever you need them to be made. But I'll give Bo Nix credit. Like, he's done a lot of that this season as well. And he's not the sexy, super athlete stud that, Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow are. And I mean, he does just enough. Even if you're playing the Jets in London, he'll have the worst game you've ever watched and wonder why you're awake watching the London game and why that's the only London game you're going to watch all year, which it was. Um, but then I don't know. I can't count out Bo Nix. He's been too clutch this season. He's come up huge in a lot of big moments. But I understand the hesitation when you're facing Josh Allen. So ultimately, it comes down to the matchups in this game. And it's funny where like the biggest weakness of these teams goes against a pretty big weakness of the other team, right? The biggest weakness in this entire game would be, I mean, you mentioned the Bills receivers, but you have Josh Allen. So the passing attack is going to be somewhat prolific, but it would definitely be the Bills' rushing defense, right? But the Broncos don't have a great rushing game whatsoever. Their best running back is debatably RJ Harvey, and he's garbage. He's bad at football. And I need a moment to pause on that one because some people will try to tell you otherwise. Um, so it's like, oh, are the Broncos really going to be able to take advantage of this big weakness? that the Jags had success with and some other teams in the past. I really don't think so. So then it's like, all right, well, are the is the Broncos rushing attack going to be better against this Bills rush defense than Josh Allen is going to be against this Broncos pass defense and pass rush? And I don't think so. I think I give the edge here to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I just think in a close game, I just cannot pick against Josh Allen. It burned me last week. I'm not going to let it do it again. Even and I mean, if you just do the transitive property, right? Jaguars go into Denver at the end of the season and dog walk them. Bills just beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville, so obviously the Bills are going to beat the Jags. That's how football works. So I'm picking the Bills. I like it.
And I am picking the Denver Broncos. Give me
Oh,
Sean Payton off a bye. Give me Bo Nix, who has proved so many people wrong this year and all their comeback wins, and even some of his bad performances. This team is good enough to win these bare knuckle fights. We just saw the Bills do it last week as well, and so this is going to be a really fun game. But I'm going to trust the more complete team in this matchup at home. The Bills coming off a short week. I just think this is too tall of a task for Josh Allen. Yeah, it's one thing when you're facing Trevor Lawrence and first year head coach Liam Cohen. It's a whole different beast when you have second year Bo Nix with a Super Bowl champion head coach and Sean Payton, along with just that stacked defense, which is going to be in Josh Allen's grill all game long. I just see the Bills having a really hard time moving the ball in this one. Now, I will say Bo Nix, he has had some trouble this year with throwing the number out or throwing the ball outside the numbers. And that's where this Bills defense really excels. As much as we can harp on, the front seven or even their front four rush defense, they are really good in the secondary. And so that's going to be a fun matchup in this game. But I think the Bills road ends here, and Sean Payton comes out in the Battle of the Seans.
Keon Coleman shocks the world with a monster game in this matchup. Who needs receivers when you have Josh Allen? He's going to be doing everything for this Bills team. And I mean, we look at the Broncos towards the end of the season, they were kind of ending on a sour note, right? You had that awful game against the Chiefs where their offense really wasn't clicking that well. You had that game against Jacksonville where you just get dog walked at home. And hell, even that Chargers game when the Chargers were resting everybody, their offense still, and they needed to win that game, their offense still did not come out to play. And I think Josh Allen's just going to do just enough to put his team in a position to win. And I don't think Bo Nix will be able to get there. So I have the Bills winning this game 17-13. Give me Buffalo.
And I think Sean Payton had his offensive tricks right up his sleeve, hidden for moments just like this in the playoffs. Give me the Broncos 26-20.
All right, Laraib. Next game up, we have the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Seattle to face the Seahawks. Your Seahawks, I might add, in case any of you forgot, because I forget sometimes too. Seahawks 7-point favorites at home. Interesting addition to the injury report, Laraib. Fred Warner, a limited
He's
participant,
already been
and
ruled out of the game.
just saying, it's just
I
Trent
thought you were about to
Williams.
mention Sam Darnold's oblique injury that just came out of nowhere today.
Trent Williams said he was inspired by seeing Fred Warner out there.
Okay.
Well, what does that tell the team? It tells them, hey, we know we're going to be playing next week, and we might get Fred Warner back for that. Just saying that would inspire me. That would make me want to win. But no, I actually didn't hear about the Darnold oblique injury. You got any other updates on that?
So he will be playing, but this is something as 100% can be affecting him. He's probably going to be limited in this game. His oblique, I don't know what side it's on, but that's a pretty big injury for a quarterback, especially with the amount of twisting and turning they do to try to throw the football. But we saw the Seahawks team run the ball 39 times last time they played the 49ers. And so even if we see little pumpkin Sam Darnold in mid-January, I think Kenneth Walker and the Sharba Beast will have this matchup on lock.
The Niners are in just such a terrible position for this game. You go from playing this team 2 weeks ago in a big Saturday night win, and you're the number one seed, to go then immediately have to play a game at Philadelphia in a tough physical end of the game where you lose George Kittle to an injury, other guys getting banged up as usual. And now you immediately flip around to that team who has not even scouted an opponent since they've already spent probably 3 weeks scouting against you. Maybe even longer than that. I don't know if they did a lot of Panthers prep before that game against before the game before their game against the Niners, but they have been insanely locked in on this 49ers team. And the fact that George Kittle's out of the picture, a guy like Mike McDonald, who's just been a great defensive schemer, putting guys in positions to succeed. The fact that they're able to get a pass rush with four, they really contain McCaffrey in the rushing game, and they put a lot on Brock Purdy's shoulders, and he made a lot of mistakes in that Seattle game. Now, I think it's just going to be more of the same for the 49ers in this spot. And as much as I've loved their story and as much money as McCaffrey has won me this season, I ultimately I got to go with the Seahawks in this one. Even if you're right. If Darnold just hands the ball off all game long and pulls a Mac Jones against the Bills in 2021 with Bill Belichick as the head coach, they're probably going to win because if the Seahawks can get to 16 points, I think that's a sure win.
Yep, and I'm rolling with my Seahawks as well. Huge credit to this defense, and only getting a week off of rest is only going to make them that much better. Make sure everyone's nice and healthy after a season that was riddled with injuries, at least for the secondary. I love the Seahawks in this matchup. Like you mentioned, I mean, you said I'm a Seahawks fan, but I can still feel for the 49ers having only 5 days of rest and then going to Seattle to play my team. That sucks for them, but I don't give a fuck. Give me the Seahawks
We
27 to
move.
13.
Yay, we move. Yeah, I have Seattle in this one. I'm gonna go exactly 16-6 in an absolute slobber knocker of a match. But let's go ahead, Laura. Let's move to the Sunday slate at 2 o'clock. Ew. I know this is the championship times, just not a big fan. We have the Texans traveling to New England to face the Patriots. Patriots 3-point favorites here at home. Uh, Patriots in their last game, pretty much pulled away from the Chargers at the end after Justin Herbert just said, "Here, take it. I don't want it anymore." And Patriots obliged. Drake Maye looked pretty shaky in that first half, bounced back in the second half with some very impressive throws. But now you're playing a legit defense. And the way this Texans defense played on Monday night is terrifying to pick against. And you got to think, like, what is the bare minimum, in your opinion, Larob, that CJ Stroud would need to do for them to beat this Patriots team?
20 points. Can you get 20 points? Can you get me two touchdowns, two field goals in 60 minutes? And that's exactly what I think they can do. This is the first time this Patriots team, Lewis, this offense is gonna match up a defense that's ranked in the top five. Let me tell you right now, this Texans defense is not five, they're not four, they're not three, they're not two. They are one. They are the best defense in the
They're not
NFL.
even one. They've ascended
They're
amongst the
zero.
ranks. Yeah, like they're
They are
insane.
just on a completely different plane. And I just don't think this Patriots offense is going to be ready for it. Yeah, it's cute when you're facing Tarheeb Steele in the secondary, and 50-year-old Khalil Mack on the defensive line. And a lot of credit to Jesse Minter for what sort of scheme he has. But this Texans defense, it doesn't matter what scheme they have or who's even coaching them outside of D'Amico Ryans and their defense coordinator. These are just a bunch of YNs out there, and they're just playing hungry. 24/7, 365. And I don't think Drake May has seen anything like that in his entire NFL career. And so I think the Patriots are going to struggle on offense. And then on the other side, CJ Stroud, like we mentioned, can you get 20 points? Now, Milton Williams had an outstanding game last week for the Patriots, and it looks like no Nico Collins in this game, but also looks like Christian Gonzalez might be out as well with a concussion. And so those are two things canceling it out. Can C. Kirk, Christian Kirk, that is, have another huge performance in this game for the Texans? I think he can. I think Dalton Schultz, who wasn't really involved too much last week, I think he can feast on this weak
Mm,
linebacking core of the Patriots. I like the Texans to win this game 20 to 17.
you made a very compelling case. And I'm starting to look at what I wrote down. Double down. I have the New England Patriots winning this game here at home. And it's as simple as I trust Drake Maye and Mike Vrabel more than I trust CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryan. See, saying that out loud, it's like, oh, shoot, you're right, Lewis. Like, head coach and quarterback matter. Sure, I think that Drake Maye is going to struggle against this Patriots defense or against the Texans defense, but also Texans aren't that great against quarterbacks who can extend the play and run. Like we saw when they played Trevor Lawrence, he had a few explosive runs against them. Herbert can't move at all. He's injured in 9 different places allegedly, or he's just not that guy. But we saw Drake last week with over 50 rushing yards and really getting out of the pocket, making plays happen, hitting Hunter Henry down the sideline. And I think if he's able to extend the play, I mean, we saw them just devour poor Aaron Rodgers last week. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers can't run. There were a few times Aaron Rodgers got out of the pocket, though, and there were definitely guys open. He made throws, but either the receivers dropped it or Rodgers couldn't quite get the angle because he's just not the athlete he used to be. But these are plays that I can see Drake Maye making. And you have a very experienced offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels who's faced juggernaut defenses like this Texans team before in his history with the Patriots. And he schemed things up well. I think this Texans team, their biggest weakness is their rushing defense. And I think if guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson could potentially have his big playoff moment in this game, can knock off some big runs, get into field goal range, I just have more faith, as crazy as this sounds, in this Drake Maye offense against this Texans defense than I do CJ Stroud and this Texans offense. I mean, Nico Collins, we'll see if he's even able to play. He didn't even practice today. And we saw Christian Gonzalez taken out of concussion protocol. Seems like he's going to play. So you already lose your best receiver and they get their best cornerback. And yeah, Christian Kirk, Stephen A, had a wonderful game, but I mean, if I can just key in on anything, yeah, I'll key in on Christian Kirk and I'll let Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, and Woody Marks and remind me one more time, what's the other running back's name, Laraib?
Jawar Jordan. Remember the name, pal.
This will not be his big coming out game. I'll tell you that right. I will buy a Jamar Jordan
Jawar,
jersey.
Jawar Jordan.
Exactly. If he scores a touchdown, that's it. He
That's it?
scores a touchdown, I will be wearing a Jawar Jordan jersey. I feel like I made this proclamation on our last episode. I totally forgot what I said I was going to wear a jersey for, but I don't think it happened. So I think maybe it was a Herbert jersey. So yeah,
Oh
that's why
yeah,
we got the
Aronde
first and
Gas
goal
in the
merch.
second.
Oh, right. Yeah, first and goal merch, by the way. Um, so yeah, that's what I mean. I really just have more faith in Vrabel, who's been in bigger games. D'Amico Ryan's, yeah, they've won one playoff game a year, but the CJ Stroud thing's been weird all season long. He clearly gets affected by pressure. We saw how impactful Milton Williams was coming back to this defensive line and really causing havoc for Herbert last week. And if the Texans aren't able to generate their 2 or 3 big splash plays a game, they're not going to be able to move the ball. And I trust Drake Maye and Mike Vrabel to get the job done at home. Give me the Patriots in this one.
Put that damn box cutter down, first of all. And second of all, you're thinking about this game in the completely wrong mindset. You said you trust Mike Vrabel and Drake Maye more than you trust D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud. That's the
Yes.
wrong way to look at this game.
Wait. Do you disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree. But
Okay.
here's the real meat and potatoes of the game. It's Mike Vrabel and Drake Maye versus D'Amico Ryans and this Texans defense.
Drake Maye's better.
They had two touchdowns
Drake Maye's
last week.
better. Drake Maye had three.
All right. Hey, we'll see. Texans 20-17.
And give me the Patriots 23-16. Go Pats. I don't know if they have a catchphrase. Uh, yeah, I have no idea. All right. And then our final game, Larav, we have the Rams traveling to Chicago in Chicago. And the reason I emphasize that, Rams 3.5 point favorites on the road, real feel of -8 degrees in Chicago on Sunday. It's going to be a windy, some might call it blustery cold. Now I ask you, Laura, even though Chicago, you would think they're used to the climate, this is their, they should be more acclimated to playing in the cold. Do you think they are the better cold weather team than the Rams?
Um,
I'll let you bask on that one.
yes. They
Okay.
went to Philadelphia last year in a snowy, blizzardy game against the Eagles, and right there in that game last minute. So I'm not worried about the weather in this game. I've seen the Rams play in this sort of weather last year. And then for the Bears, yeah, sure, they're going to be accustomed to this sort of weather. They live in Chicago, but I don't think that's going to be the huge takeaway from this game. I'm more worried about this Bears secondary, which was chopped cheese, you could say. If I see Kyler Gordon on the field for any amount of plays this week, it is going to be a long day for the secondary. And we know Matt LaFleur is a known playoff choker, a known conservative. But Sean McVay, he's going to exploit advantages. He's going to touch you here and there where you don't like to be touched. And he is not going to blow huge loads or leads,
What the
just like Matt
hell?
LaFleur is. So I really like the Rams in this matchup. This is going to be a fun game, but I just trust the coach quarterback combo from one team a lot more than I do the other.
That's great analysis right there, Laura. Very cogent. But some things are bigger than football, Rob. Some things transcend analysis in this sport. And sometimes it's just destiny, right? You think of the destiny teams of our lifetime, right? The 2016 Chicago Cubs never won, and Chicago connection, right? When they went to the World Series and won it, right? You think of the '04 Pistons, the '08 Warriors, never say die. You think of the 2007 New York Giants, right? Sometimes it's just bigger than the analytics and the matchups. And this Bears team just has it. And they've been playing with fire, playing from behind, playing with this belief that if they can come back and if they have a chance, they will win. Doesn't matter what the deficit, who the opponent is, if they're within striking distance or if they're not, they have that belief that they're going to win. And you mentioned Sean McVay being this exciting, innovative, go for it head coach. Not
That's
really.
not what I said, first of
Not
all.
really.
And because that's
He's
not even what I
really
said, man.
not. He's really not. One of the worst fourth down conversion rates for a top 10 offense this season for the Rams. So, and in terms of like percentage of actually going for it on fourth down, he's pretty Sean McVay, hands in his pocket. Let's see what the defense has for us. And let's see what the Rams defense has for us, Laura, because since week 12, because week 11 they played the Saints, since week 12, they've been averaging giving up almost 28.6 per game against not great offenses every single week. I mean, we saw them play the Cardinals. They've played the Panthers twice in that span. They've just had some ugly defensive losses. This secondary, you talk about the Bears secondary, this Rams secondary is chopped chisel. And the Bears offense, you saw them get Colston Loveland a lot more involved, Roma Dunze coming back from injury, making a huge catch. And Caleb just getting comfortable in these big moments. And I feel like Ben Johnson, he just gonna put it all out on the line for this game. This is definitely the toughest match of their entire season. So that being said, I'm still picking the Bears. Give me Chicago in Chicago. And it's -8 degrees. I'm going to say 28-20. The Bears.
I mean, you are just making all the boneheaded mistakes that I didn't even I could have imagined that were possible. You take every single team from the regular season and say, "Oh, I was picking the team who really needed to win so bad. You know what? I'm just going to go with the better team in the first round." And you go ahead and you pick the stupid Jaguars and you pick the stupid Packers, who we
Oh,
all knew were going
hindsight.
to lose those games. Then you come into this game, you say, "The Bills, they were so good against the Jaguars. Of course they're going to beat the Broncos. Oh my goodness, the Bears. Who cares? They were
Oh, look
losing
at
by
the
20
Texans defense
points.
against prehistoric Aaron Rodgers. They're going to do that again. I mean, you see, if
That's
I
what
start speaking in
they
that
have won
voice, it
10
sounds
games
like
in
it.
a row. First of all, that Texans
The
defense.
Jags
And
have
then on
won
the
nine
other
games
hand,
in a
this
row.
Bears team, if you're telling me Sean McVay was up 20 over 20 points against the Bears last week, if it was Rams Bears last week, the Rams would have won that game easily. They're not blowing that shit like the Packers are. And so I like the Rams in this game at 31 to 28. And you just gave me three free points this week, and I literally won't have anything to worry about for the rest of the playoffs.
Do you believe in miracles, Laraib? I don't think you do. There's some things that are just
I do believe in
bigger
miracles. I
than
came
this
back on your
sport.
ass in the regular season. Then I dominated you in the wild card round, and now you're just giving out Christmas miracles. Christmas was almost a month ago, Lewis, but you're still handing out gifts to me, pick after pick after pick.
I don't think I've won a week of picks since Brown Christmas, if we're being real. But ever since these games came out, I was solid on all these picks, even though you did make a compelling case for the Texans. I'm not gonna lie. But
You can. I will let you change your pick right now. I don't give
hell
a fuck.
no, hell
No, go
no,
ahead, pick.
hell no. I stand by my guns. And if I
I
go
say I
down,
gave you the chance last week. Switch your pick
I
right
see
now to the
4-0.
Patriots if you did
I
not.
see I see 4-0 this week. Oh, take it to the bank. And just like that, I walk in to conference championship weekend with the lead. Oh man. Talk about a comeback. Come on that back.
All right.
Anyway, that's gonna do it for our picks. Is there any player props, any lines, anything? We didn't really talk about this beforehand, but if you had to pick a spread in any of these games, which spread would you pick?
If I had to pick a spread,
Probably Denver minus one and a
I
half,
really
huh?
like Broncos 1.5. I don't think the Broncos are getting enough credit. If I had to pick a second one, obviously give me Texans +3. I think that's going to be a really close game. That will be decided by 1 or 2 points. I like that as well.
I love Bills plus 1.5 because I'm
You're
getting a
not getting
point.
any points
I'm
there.
getting a
There's
point. Yes, I am. Because, I do think Bo Nix is clutch. And if it's a 4 point game or no, a 2 point game and they get a field goal for the win, guess who still wins? Me. So I'll take it either way. But the Bills are just going to win outright. So don't have to worry about that. So I love it.
You're gonna have a lot to worry about come Tuesday's episode, that's for sure.
If I go, if I, no, if I go 1-3, I won't be happy. If I go 1-4, I'll be, that might be it. But at least if I go 1-4, that means the Seahawks lost. So we'll see who's really upset.
That is true, but I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the First and Goal podcast. We will be back on, like we are alluding, on Tuesday to break down all these games and then pop in for our culture corner. Who are we talking about on Tuesday on the culture corner, Lewis?
We will be talking about the pit episodes 1 and 2, breaking it down. And we're going to throw in something very special for y'all. So make sure y'all stay tuned for the end of the
I
episode.
will also be staying tuned in for that.
A sneak peek into something big we are planning very soon.
All right, well, I guess we'll leave it off of that. This is the First Goal podcast signing off.
Peace.